Okay, I believe we are live. Just checking the audio here. Audio seems good. You guys watching right now can let me know if there are any issues with the audio, if I need to make adjustments. Just getting a couple things taken care of here before we get started. All right, that's up. Good. Okay, so yeah, this is a live Q&A. Got a few questions here from several users or people. You guys watching can feel free to drop questions down below, or I guess drop questions in the chat, and I'll try to answer them in order here. Limited 3 questions per person, but I'm just trying to get things set up here before we get rolling. Kind of got back in the workshop a little later than I planned on. I kind of got tied up doing some other stuff. There is a slight glare in the middle of the screen, which is bothering me. Now, you know what? I'm just going to move over slightly. Or I could move the camera. I wonder if that's... You guys can probably see what I'm talking about. There's like something right there. That's irritating. Just going to have to deal with it. So yeah, I had quite a few questions were submitted over this week, and I have them right here ready to answer. I'll probably wait till we get about possibly 5 minutes in. Hang on a second, just messaging someone on Discord. Yeah, probably about 5 minutes in here, I'll start the Q&A. Just giving other people time to join. But yeah, I got questions are pulled up here. Like I said, I wanted to be back in the workshop earlier this evening to get rolling with things, but it just wasn't meant to be, I guess. I'm going to close some stuff here too to try to not taking up as much bandwidth, because I live in a part of the country where internet is very unreliable. I love it. Okay, got everything pulled up here. I doubt it's going to happen. I just want to throw this out here since I can. I doubt it's going to happen, but I was hoping to have a video done to upload tomorrow. I've been trying to do 2 uploads per week just because I want to keep a constant schedule. But, I try to at least upload on a weekly basis, even if it's just, 1 video a week. Unfortunately, I'm in the position right now where I've got so much going on that I just sometimes I can't even put out 1 video a week. It's just how it is, I guess. Tell you what, I don't care for the background. That's what happens when your workshop's downstairs. I like it. To be honest with you, it's a lot better from that point of view. See that? Yep. And all my tables in the background. It's all good. Right. So I guess we'll get on with the Q&A here. I'll pull up the questions. So, first question comes from Levi Darling 5107, and he asks, how welcoming are you to new and small channels here on YouTube? Well, I'll be honest, when it comes to new channels, new YouTubers, I encourage it. If you're somebody that wants to get involved in creating content for YouTube, whether it's whether your content is music or videoing, how to, I don't know, art, gaming, whatever, really. If you want to get it out there, and as the slogan for YouTube used to be, broadcast yourself, then by all means, it's worth doing. Hi, Chris, by the way. Now, one thing that I don't like with these new or small channels on YouTube, because I've personally had this happen myself, you'll get these channels that'll come on to YouTube. And I'm not saying these are like spam or anything like that. They're just, they're new people that they want to get recognized. And that's okay. But what I don't like is you'll get these users which will come on. They just started a new YouTube channel. They got maybe like 10 subscribers. And I remember when I was that way, I only had 10 subscribers at one time. But they'll come onto my channel. They'll comment on one of my videos. And they'll be like, hey, can you give me a shout out in one of your videos from my channel? Or they'll send me a personal message or an email. Hey, can you give my channel a shout out in one of your videos? My problem with this is I've gone over to some of these channels and I look, these people either don't have any videos or they do have videos, and the quality of them, I want to try to be nice about this, it's not that good. The videos are not good. Now, me as a bigger YouTuber, as of date, I've got 2,000 subscribers. I've got a small audience, in my opinion. If I were to take this small channel that has these poor videos on it, and I was to give them a shout out in one of my videos and recommend them to other viewers of mine, these people are going to go over to this channel. They're going to look at it. They're going to see the poor quality content, and they're going to think to themselves, why the hell did Plowbender recommend this to me? And, if I do that for every small channel that asks, and again, if it's poor quality content on all of them, it's going to get to the point where people won't take me seriously. Like, for example, if I was to, recommend all these poor channels and give them shout outs, and then recommend a channel like NZR doing, for example, who, good friend of mine, uploads pretty good content. I recommend him in one of my shout outs. People aren't going to take me seriously on him because I've recommended all this other nonsense. So it's one of those deals. It does not flow well with me to do something like that all the time. Now, I will be honest, I have given shout outs to some new channels that have come onto the network, some great people. But, again, I only do that if I feel it's something worth promoting, if they have good quality content. And, it's one of those deals. I don't like these small channels reaching out to these bigger channels. And I mean, in some cases, it's all right. In some cases, it is all right for these small channels to reach out to the bigger ones and say, hey, can you give me a shout out? Hey, can you give me a mention? If, it's worthwhile. If there's a reason there, if I'm making any sense with all this, I'm probably just rambling now. But what I think a lot of these small channels are trying to do is they're trying to leech off of the bigger channels to get higher up themselves. And like I said, I've been there before. I've been a small channel. I can clearly remember back 2018 when I started Plowbender Studios and uploaded my first few videos. I only had 10 subscribers. You know, we all start out at that point in time. You know, but I think it's a lot more rewarding when you can grow your audience with what you do versus having to basically keep reaching out to these bigger channels. To be honest with you, I've only ever gotten a shout out from one channel that was bigger than me, and that would be Marty's Matchbox Makeovers. And pretty much the only reason he gave me a shout out was just because I donated some Matchbox cars to him for restoration videos he was doing, which, you know, it wasn't really, my intention wasn't really to try to get a shout out from him, but more so, you know, I enjoyed his content, wanted to help him out. And I guess at the end of the day, he felt it was, you know, appropriate to give credit where credit's due and give me a mention. But yeah, like I said, though, when it comes to welcoming new and small channels here on YouTube, I'm all for it. But I'm definitely not for these channels that, you know, basically want to leech off of the bigger ones to try to get higher up themselves. Like I said, any of us who have created YouTube channels, we've all started out small and we've all had to build our channels up over time. Some people get lucky and it only takes a year, a couple months, or a year. Other people, it takes 10 or more years to get a good fan base. You know, I know there's one YouTuber I know, I really don't care for this user. I think within 1 year's time, they had well over 50,000 subscribers, quit their job, started doing YouTube full time. Definitely got an ego that I don't care for now, but they were lucky that their channel got thrown into the YouTube algorithm to basically get them to where they were or are now. Meanwhile, I know other people who have been on YouTube for over 10 years and they just recently past 12,000 subscribers. You know, and I think that's another deal is the YouTube algorithm is so messed up that it's kind of sometimes luck that your channel just gets big in a year's time. I could go on more about that, but like I said, basically to put a bow on this, I would say when it comes to welcoming new and small channels on YouTube, like I said, I encourage it, but I think there needs to be certain morals, I guess, for lack of a better term, with these small channels starting out. Try to do as much as you can on your own. Don't try to leech off the bigger guys. Well, I think I'm going to end on that. Like I said, I could probably go on it for a while, but I won't. Next one. I'm just going to throw this user in the chat because I cannot pronounce their username. It's probably just a series of letters. This guy here asks, what are your thoughts on modern Ertl? And I believe he's referring to the Ertl company, the Ertl range in general. Personal opinion, I don't think it's bad per se. I do have something. I don't know how modern this is. Licensing on this is 2020, but this is one of the newer tractors they came out recently for their 1/64 scale diecast line. The quality of these is definitely better than it was back in, say, the late 80s, 90s. They definitely put more detail into these, but I will say I'm not entirely impressed with the quality in some cases. There seems to be a lot more use of plastic. Something that really irritates me is I've noticed if you were to go to a place like Tractor Supply, or I think even Rural King, or even some of your toy stores, I guess, would possibly be the same way. You can get these individual tractors or trucks and what have you. And what's irritating for me, I have to see here if I got one. This isn't exact, but it's similar. One of these trucks here, it's a 1/64 scale replica of a Dodge Ram. You used to be able to pick these up at Tractor Supply for, I think, around $5. $5, I think, is what you pay for one of these. And my opinion, not a bad price. Nowadays, though, they have something similar to this, and the price is over $10 by the time you get tax and everything involved. That is a substantial, it's basically doubled in price. And I think the $5 I quoted for this, I think, was back in 2014. Now, granted, within the last 3 years now, the price of everything seemed to have gone up. But, I don't like the price increase. And I mean, another thing that kind of irritates me too is, I got another good example for you. I don't have an exact, whoops, bumped the microphone there. I don't have an exact replica because I'm not going to pay the price. But you've got this dump truck here. Now, this is all plastic. This whole thing is plastic, other than this small black part on the bottom. And I think this was another deal with these. You were paying about $6 to $7 for one of these. Now, I think you're paying upwards of close to $12 for a piece of plastic here. Okay. There's nothing special about this. There really isn't. And like I said, it just seems like a ridiculous price. Now, I know for a fact that the Ertl company, I think there's some sort of, I think they're owned by Tomy now. There's been a lot of chat about what's gone on with the Ertl company over the years, what's changed. All these different companies are buying out other companies and such. And it's just, the prices, in my opinion, have gotten ridiculous with the Ertl stuff. There is some stuff out there that I think is still reasonable. But, something like this, I cannot see paying $12 for something that's mostly plastic. And there's nothing special about it. Something else I want to rant about here for a little bit too is, I know a lot of people have talked about this. Some people have even commented on some of the reviews I've done looking at DCP or die-cast promotion stuff. And one thing I was complaining about with DCP is, I'd say within the last 5 years, the price of DCP stuff has gotten really expensive. And somebody was telling me they were actually bought out by First Gear. DCP no longer exists, as an independent company. And they were telling me, because DCP was bought out by First Gear, First Gear basically bought out DCP, so they have no competition anymore, which gives them freedom to charge whatever they want. And I can show you, because I actually got this in. Bought this from Outback Toys recently for a project I want to do. It's an R model Mack dump truck, but you can see right here, it says DCP by First Gear. Like I said, First Gear basically bought out DCP, and with the competition gone, they can charge whatever they want. This, I think, was $45, but I've seen them upwards like $54, $55. I don't know. The prices is why I don't buy a lot of this stuff anymore. I think the prices are ridiculous. Then I keep talking about, like, Greenlight, for example. the company Greenlight, they're producing a lot of stuff, which I feel is better value for money, but the quality is questionable. But yeah, basically to wrap up that question, though, my personal thoughts on modern Ertl is it's not as good as it was, and it seems to have gotten the quality in terms of, I guess what you got in your hand. Well, there's too much plastic, in my opinion. Too much plastic, not enough die cast. So the quality in that regard has gone down, and I don't think the prices are appropriate for what you get in some areas. I do have, this is, well, I'm not really sure because I don't have the packaging right now. This was a tractor that I picked up back, if it'll focus. I got this a couple years ago now, and overall, it's not too bad. Nice little bit of detail, die cast construction. Pretty good overall. I think I only paid like under $10 for this, and I think it was pretty good. But this is more of like a collector's piece for the Ertl range, basically like you get with what I have here. I guess another thing I want to mention is these, I guess, are supposed to be more like sandbox toys, but I still can't see paying $12 for something like this. Again, there's certain areas with the modern Ertl that I'm not 100% satisfied with. I think whoever's making the decisions with Ertl, they need to take a step back and look at things. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on modern Ertl. All right. I'm going to catch up on the comments here real quick. All right. Next question comes from Elliot Smith. And he asks, in your opinion, what is one video you've uploaded that you feel did not get the credit it deserved? That's a really difficult question because I feel like there's quite a few videos I've done that did not get the credit they deserved. Just going to move the mic here. I mean, to be honest, I've looked at my channel a couple times here over the last year, I guess. One thing that bothers me is view counts. And I know a lot of people, YouTubers, have talked about view counts and how bad view counts are. Basically, the YouTube algorithm is so messed up anymore. It's really causing a lot of problems for a lot of YouTubers out there. But me personally, I've looked at some of my videos and how they performed. I have one video which I would personally say is the worst performing video on my channel. It was a video from the power pools. I can't remember the exact date without looking it up here. It would have been the power pools from 2018. I uploaded this video on October 15th of 2019 on almost 4 years ago now. And in that 4 years, it has only pulled 62 views. I would regard that as the worst performing video on my channel, because I've got other videos, while they've got fewer views, they have not been up as long. And you kind of got to ask yourself, you know, why videos like that don't pull the views. Personally, I don't understand, like, even recently with uploads I've done. At this time, I've got a little over 2,000 subscribers, and a majority of my videos I've uploaded just within this year, they pretty much pull a couple or a few hundred views, and that is it. And I'm sitting here wondering, and I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of content it is, whether it's diecast, whether it's model trains, whether it's motorsports, whether it's how-to videos, whether it's vlogs, whether it's just random videos, railroading, like these, it doesn't matter what type of video it is. It barely pulls a few hundred views. And I'm thinking to myself, how can I get a video that's only pulling, or how can I get these videos which are only pulling maybe 400 views at most when I've got over 2,000 subscribers? Like, where is my audience in all this? It does not make sense. I wonder where my viewers are coming from. And I mean, again, I'm going back to what I said earlier. There's a lot of YouTubers who've said their view counts are down. One YouTuber in particular I know is Bare Metal HW. If you guys haven't checked out his channel, highly recommend it. He does Hot Wheels Redline restorations, customs. He also shows some of his techniques and what have you. But he has not been active on YouTube for, I think, it might be 2 years now. He just disappeared off the face of the earth, and everyone's wondering where he got to. But he was saying, these channels that are doing these videos on diecast and such, they've noticed a substantial drop in view count. And I think it's one of those deals that he just, it's not worth his time to be bothered with that. And he's just, got off of YouTube. Granted, I still hope he's still in the background, planning to come back at some point. But, for a channel, I looked at his channel there, and I know he has over 300,000 subscribers. But some of his latest videos, they've only pulled maybe 40,000, if even that, and that's a substantial difference. If you're a channel that has over 300,000 subscribers, but you've got videos which are only pulling 40,000, where's the other 260,000 subscribers? But I guess I'm kind of getting off of what I'm supposed to be answering here. When it comes to what Elliot asks, the video that I feel did not get the credit it deserved. I'm trying to narrow it down, to be honest with you, because there's quite a few videos I don't feel they went as far as they should have. I mean, I guess probably a couple videos I'd say I was disappointed didn't do as well as they could have. My video on the Flight 93 Memorial, when I went to Stoystown back in, was it 2021, I think? That video, I would have thought that had done better. But unfortunately, it only pulled, I think, a little over 100 views. And I mean, that's after being up for 2 years now. I guess not quite 2 years. Another one I was disappointed with was my video that I did with NZR doing when we went to my local hobby shop. That video I thought would really do good. And unfortunately, in 1 year's time, it only pulled a little over 300 views. And as if that wasn't bad enough, the video led to other problems, which if you want to know the full story, just look at my channel and you'll find it. I mean, there's like other videos I did last year, a video on Somerville's 30th annual farm toy show and sale. Another situation there where that video in a year's time, it only pulled a little over 300 views. Some of my model train videos, again, they didn't go anywhere. Again, I'm having a hard time narrowing it down to videos that did not get the credit. Well, one single video that did not get the credit it deserves. And I honestly, I cannot give you a good answer, because I feel there's quite a few videos on my channel that just, again, they didn't go anywhere. And it's kind of odd, because you'll find yourself putting together a video, or at least I do. I find myself putting together a video at times, and I'm thinking to myself, why am I bothering uploading this? Yeah, I enjoy it, but I know it's not going to be popular. Nobody else is really going to appreciate it the same way I am. Yet that video just, in a short time, it pulls the views, gets a lot of attention. And it surprises me, because, it's something I think nobody's really going to enjoy. But then you have cases where you put all this time and effort into a video, you think it's going to go somewhere, and it doesn't. It's kind of odd how that works. But no, as to me picking out a video that I feel didn't get the credit it deserves, I honestly couldn't pick out one single video. I'd have to say there's multiples, and it'd be hard to tell which one I would, say is the one and only that, just didn't work. Elliot also asks, what is one video you've uploaded that you feel was a complete fail? One video that I feel was a complete fail. Well, I'm going to be honest with you guys. If I had to pick out one video which was a complete fail, I would have to go back to the video YouTuber NZR Dune and I did on my local hobby shop, because that video, while the video itself wasn't bad, it led to numerous problems over the next year after upload. Unfortunately, something Zach and I didn't foresee with the video was, once it aired on YouTube, certain people saw it and saw what the hobby shop had in stock, and saw, this was new old stock, which was being sold at really good prices, far less than what you would pay on eBay. And that video attracted a lot of scalping for people to go to that shop and buy up, the underpriced inventory to turn around and on sell. I know a few people, and I know people who know people of, a few people that basically went to that hobby shop and bought inventory. I know one guy in particular flew all the way from California to buy up a bunch of inventory to turn around and on sell. And, this scalping activity that went on basically led to numerous problems over the next year with the way the shop operated. Because it was, and I mean, the stupidest thing was, it was after the scalping occurred that the hobby shop turned around and upped their prices on everything, which was basically after all the good stuff was gone. And it was kind of funny because, basically about a year later, I go into the hobby shop. I got into a deal with one of the local businesses, and a friend of mine there, we have a model train display that we work to keep up and going. It's sort of a, oh, what would you say? Something to draw people into the business and what have you. The guy I was working with, I was saying about, some of the models weren't in the best condition. He's like, well, you go to the local hobby shop, they got what's called a bargain bin there. You can pick up, used stuff at a reasonable price. And basically what they'll do is, you can get it at a decent price and you can either part it out or, use it to fix up other stuff on the layout, just keep the layouts operational. And basically I go into the hobby shop to try to do that. I try to buy up this, just basically what's junk. And I was told to charge the purchase to the owner of the business I was working with. I'm trying not to drop names here, just, for privacy's sake. But the owner of the business, not the hobby shop, but the business where we had the layouts and such. And I get some stuff, I go to charge them, and one of the guys at the hobby shop basically, well, first thing he asked me is, how do I know how do I know this is actually, this purchase is not for you? And it's like, well, I tried to explain to him what was going on, that I had permission to do this. Well, what really pissed me off is when he basically says, well, how do I know you're not trying to buy this stuff at this guy's expense just so you can turn around and on-sell it? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you let dishonest people, you let complete strangers come into this shop, buy up hundreds of dollars worth of inventory, even having numerous duplicates, and you don't question it. Yet you have me, a regular customer who's been doing business here for almost 18 years. I come in trying to basically buy what's a small purchase, and you want to accuse me of trying to scalp. It's like, are you kidding me? Unfortunately, and I was there with YouTuber Captain Rolls. Basically, we got kicked out. I left with nothing in hand. The guys, they told me, they're like, well, we can't let this stuff go if you're not going to pay for it. And it's like, I was pissed, because I thought to myself, it's like, I've been a loyal customer here for almost 20 years and that doesn't matter. Like, really? And I never did business with that shop again. They just recently closed this year. If you want to like more detailed information on that story, I do have a video on my channel of it called the 1 year aftermath retail horror story. But it's just, it's crazy, and unfortunately all of that was a result of that video that me and my friend Zach had done a year prior. It's, what that video did was basically caused so much chaos with, well, aside from that hobby shop, it was also, there was a lot of, arguing back and forth between me and a couple other YouTubers in regards to, things. It's just, and I honestly regard it as the worst video that I ever did for the channel. And with Elliot here asking me what video you feel was a complete fail, it'd have to be that one right there. There was nothing good about that video, to be honest with you. Like I said, all the chaos that it caused, all the trouble I had to go through with it, and then even performance on the video when I uploaded it to YouTube. 1 year it pulled just a little over 300 views. In terms of ad revenue, I think it was like, I don't know, $1.50 it pulled in ad revenue for the entire year. It was just a complete fail. It was not, for all the trouble I went through, for all the BS that I had to put up with. from that video, Zach and I just been better off not making it. So I would have to say, out of all the videos I've done, that would have been the biggest fail, was that one right there. Never doing that again. One piece of advice that I've told people in regards to, you know, what me and Zach found out with this hobby shop and what went down. One piece of advice that I've given people is, if you find a gold mine in your area, or how did I put that? If you want to show off a best kept secret in your area, the smartest thing you can do is don't. So if you're one of these people that you've got a good hobby shop in your area, or a store that is full of underpriced new old stock, don't say a word about it. My friend Douglas, some of you may know him as Douglas Rowe here on YouTube, his local hobby shop, they are pretty much the same way this hobby shop was. They've got new old stock there, but they are smart and know what they have. They don't sell anything at, you know, underpriced. You know, if it's big dollar items, they sell them online. They don't sell them in store. You know, like I said, the whole situation, the whole story was just chaos. And if you want to know the whole thing, go on my channel. I've got a whole, I think it's like almost 40-minute consumer affairs video on what went down. It's just ridiculous. I got to move on because I'm starting to get steamed about it. Catching up in the chat here. How about that? Thomas DOTD had the same issue with his hobby shop. I mean, I know he uploaded video there. Oh, hell, that's been a few years now. I know he did have a couple videos of his hobby shop. There was another YouTuber I know did a video of their local hobby shop, and they showed some of the, or no, it wasn't their local hobby shop, but it was a hobby shop they went to in Atuska, Illinois. They had some new old stock there, and it was kind of surprising. It was gone after, like, within a few months after they made the video. Like I said, it's one of those deals. If you come across a gold mine like that, don't say anything about it. It's, you know, just keep it to yourself. But yeah, I didn't know that was why he quit YouTube, is because of that. I can believe it. In terms of subscribers, you need minimum 1,000 subscribers to monetize. However, you also, I think you need to have at least one. Well, yeah, you definitely need to have at least one video, but I think you need to have at least 4,000 watch hours, or is it 40,000 watch hours? Now somebody must be on the internet. But yeah, like I was saying, in order to monetize, I believe it is, you need 1,000 subscribers, and it's either 4,000 or 40,000 watch hours. I'm thinking probably 40,000 watch hours is what you need. But yeah, my channel, I think I started monetizing back in 2020, or it might have been 2020. I'm thinking 2021 I might have started monetizing. I can't exactly remember. Imagination Station, I would love to show you my large scale collection, but it's upstairs. Well, just for oh, this is my one baby. I just happen to have this down here in the workshop, so I'll show you that. That's my newest locomotive. I've also got a couple other large scale things here under the workbench, but unfortunately, kind of I'm waiting to review them when the time comes. Updates on model train closeouts. Go back to the consumer affairs video I did called I think it was Fraudulent Retailers Update. I'll just double check here real quick. Yeah, there's a video on my channel called Fraudulent Retailers Update. I posted that in February of 2022. Far as I'm aware, I don't know anything else as to the details, what happened with model train closeouts. I do know there's been people saying that they've been getting reimbursement checks from the Attorney General's office. So, apparently something's being done. All right. Now we go on here. Splendid Red Engine asks a couple questions. He says, what's the hardest Ertl custom you've made? A bit of a tough question because I've done so many. I can definitely rule out some of the easy ones. I've got a few of my customs here. I'll be honest with you. I'd kind of have to say the hardest one I've done is my custom of Nia, which I'll actually bring it up here for you. I had this on the workbench for quite some time. There was a lot of custom making that went on with this, and I'm trying to get the camera to focus. Come on. This focusing is hopeless. But yeah, chassis, foot plate, that was all scratch built out of 1mm styrene. A lot of work with the body. Believe it or not, and I mean, I hate to give away my secrets here. Believe it or not, this is actually a Thomas. Started out with 2 Thomases. Made changes as necessary. But yeah, there was a lot of time into the custom built parts. See how the chassis is done. Funny enough, I was able to use the mounting posts from Thomas. I did have to move the back one, I believe. But yeah, a lot of custom made parts. And then the decaling took forever. I don't think I can give credit to the guy that made the decals for me just because I don't think he wants to be associated with this. But I don't know. I'd have to say Nia was definitely the hardest custom that I did. Just all the time spent building parts and what have you. This is nothing new to me, with like my 1/64 scale customs and such. I'm always scratch building pieces, parts. I'm not a big fan of 3D printing. Not saying it's bad, but I don't know. I'm old fashioned, I guess. Trying to think what else I wanted to say, but yeah, there was a lot of time into scratch building parts, modifying the body. I also had a bit of time into painting this. I actually painted this 3 times because the first shade of orange that I used was too orange. The second shade was, I wanted a fluorescent orange, I guess. And I did get that with the second paint, but it was not, there was impurities in the paint for some reason. So I went with I think a Tamiya paint, and basically it seemed to give the results, but I don't know what the deal was. I had to use an entire can of paint on this. But, aside from painting it, then there was also the tedious amount of time into decals. Some of these decals I did make, others I had a friend make. But yeah, and then applying the decals, that took some time. Just a lot of work, though, into scratch building parts and such. But, the results speak for themselves. And I've had guys, a lot of people are just so against Nia as a character, and I don't blame them personally. I think there's a lot of things about Nia that are just, not really her character, but just, the way Mattel forced her on us, forced her on fans. A lot of people just rebelled against it. But I've had these people, they're not a fan of Nia, but they have to say that they really do like this custom. And, in a way, you look at it and it almost looks like something Ertl would have done if they were still going today. Granted, you probably have the U-style couplers instead of the traditional hook and eye system. But another one I want to mention, though, in terms of, difficult customs, would have to be my Railway Series Dawn and Douglas models. These, while there wasn't any scratch building parts or anything, these were pretty much just repaints. They started out as used models, which I wanted models that I didn't care if they were chipped or anything, because again, they were going to be repainted. But one thing I was really particular about was with these, I wanted to save the nameplates and I wanted to save the faces. I would have tried to save the numbers as well, but it just would have been too much effort. And I figured, well, they don't look that way in the Railway Series anyways. Might as well replace them. I had a friend of mine got me template there so I could make new numbers. But despite being repaints, there was a lot of work that went into these, because you had masking off the nameplates and the faces and such. Going in, priming, then painting was a bit of a challenge, because just trying to get good coverage with the blue. I try not to put too much on and drown out the detail. These are basically spray painted. I use an oil-based enamel paint to paint them. And as for details like the pinstripes, boiler bands, those were all hand painted. I might have used, I might have used masking tape a little bit in spots, but there was quite a bit with these that was hand painted. And then when I did these customs, I was trying to do something like Ertl would have done. I personally don't think Ertl would have put as much detail into like the boiler bands, the handrails. I did draw out the cab windows. Those were originally stickers, but I just decided to draw them out. And I've showed Douglas here, but I do have Donald. Yeah, there's Donald as well. I got both of them. But despite the fact these were just simple repaints, they really weren't that simple. There was quite a bit of time into working on these. And I believe I finished Douglas a few months before I finished Donald. What was really the nail biter with these was when it came down to applying the clear coat, because I like using the clear lacquer on these. And one thing that I hate with the clear lacquers, if you're not careful, I think it's either if you don't shake the can enough or you apply it too close, it will actually bubble the paint and you're back to square one, which in the case of having to color the pinstripes and such, that's the last thing I want to have to do. But no, I mean, I was quite impressed with these, that I managed to salvage the faces and the nameplates. And it's kind of funny because you look at these, like I said, these were used, played with models, and I was able to repaint them into something that I just feel they look good. But again, it's kind of odd. You wouldn't think these were a hard custom to do for just being simple repaints, but yeah, quite a bit of time. And it's 2 versus 1. But like I said, Nia definitely had a lot of custom built parts that took time, and even painting, applying decals was still a lot of work as well. So I just got a Discord notification from someone. Oh boy. Now I'm nervous. Anyways. Okay, Splendid Red Engine also asks, what's your favorite Ertl custom you made? Do I have a favorite? I don't know. I've got 1 second, because I think I got many of them. Well, obviously, I've got many of them. I mean, you're asking me a hard question here to narrow it down. mean, I'm trying to think here because, I mean, yeah. Give me a second. I'm trying to see what I got here. I mean, I actually dug all my customs out just because wasn't sure what all I wanted to show. I'm still here. Just be patient. I'm going to be honest with you. I cannot. I don't think I can answer that. I've got so many of them. I guess one thing I will. I'm going to pick something here. Something that, sort of just came to my mind. One custom I am quite proud of because I kind of wanted airbrush. I can definitely agree with you, Chris. Something I've thought about, just never brought myself to using. But, I think it'd be a lot simpler than always having to go out and try to find an exact match in a can. But like I was saying, though, favorite custom, I'm going to say maybe Henry's Tenders. These I always wanted as a kid. Obviously never had. Quite a bit of a challenge to do these. And I don't know, my weathering techniques are probably quite amateur compared to some of the other guys out there. I use what's called a dry brush technique. I wanted sort of like a streaking effect with these, which you can see. I don't think they turned out too bad, but I mean, I personally don't consider myself to be a professional modeler. And I mean, it's one of those deals like with the Ertl company when they were doing stuff like this, it seemed like they were always using like just a streaking effect. And like I said, one thing that I've kind of tried to replicate with these is trying to do something that the Ertl company would have done had they still been producing these to this day. But I have 6 of these. And like I said, I kind of wanted these as a kid, but of course the Ertl company never produced them. And I got the idea to try my hand at making these. The only problem is you got to go out and buy one specific model, and you got to buy 6 of them to hack the tenders off of. But at the end of the day, I got them, and I guess that counts. But as to, trying to just pick out a favorite custom I've done, it's hard because I think I've done over 50 of them so far. Speaking of customs, I was quite impressed with this one right here. Quite like, now it's not going to show up real well in the camera. I quite like the effect I had with the roof. A little bit of green there for the rotten wood. But yeah, I mean, that's my opinion, I guess. Well, obviously, because somebody asked my opinion. One second, I'm catching up on things here. There's a hole in that cup. Okay. Last question from Splendid Red Engine. He asks, what inspired you to like Thomas and Friends? Well, probably just because I had an interest in trains. It kind of runs in the family. My grandfather, he was a railroader. Well, I guess I kind of use that word a little. I'm sorry, people. I'm going to have to turn off Discord. Too many distractions. Like I was saying, my grandfather was a railroader. He worked with the local railroad here. He was actually a machinist for the shop there. He turned train wheels. But he had, just I'd say he had an interest in railroading. And just that sort of thing runs in the family, I guess. I had a fascination for trains, probably because he did. I also had another, I think it was my great grandfather on my mom's side. He actually worked with the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. What would you call, I'm trying to remember, he had lanterns. I want to say signalman, but I don't think that's it. Any of you, anyone out there that knows, who the guy would be that would hold the lantern, put it in the comments. Oh man. But anyways, funny enough though, we do actually have those old lanterns that he had. So I've got grandparents on both sides of the family that they were railroaders, and I guess that's sort of what sparked my interest in trains, and obviously because I had an interest in trains and railroading and such, that sparked my interest in Thomas and Friends as a young child. I think Thomas is a reason a lot of us get into trains. And then, of course, you've also got just where I come from, railroads were a pretty big thing. Unfortunately, railroads are not as big in the U.S. As they are in other countries. I know Britain, they've still got a lot of their railways. But I think Japan, they're also big on railroads and such. A lot of it, I think a lot of the commuting is done via train or bus in Japan. But yeah, I mean, basically just my interest in railroads and trains and such is what sparked my interest in Thomas and Friends as a child. And I don't know why it's just stuck with me to this day. It's kind of funny, though. You get a lot of these people telling you, oh, you're 20 some years old. You're too old for Thomas and everything. It's like, there we go. Lantern. That's how the conductor communicates with the engineer. So, see, this is why I have connections like this, because sometimes I can't get with the program. But yeah, like I was saying, though, I just say my interest in trains and such is the reason I got into Thomas and Friends. Now I remember what I was saying. It's like, you get these people that say, oh, you're 20 some years old and you're still interested in Thomas. What the hell's wrong with you? It's like, well, technically Thomas isn't just a kid's thing. In fact, you go back to when the Reverend Audrey was doing the Railway series, it had its dark moments. You think about it. I mean, they just like there were some instances in the Railway series where death was a really prominent thing. Phone's ringing. I apologize for that. Yeah, I mean, there was one. I think it was the story Bluebells of England. They actually showed these engines. They're sitting in the sidings waiting to be cut up, and there's a guy there priming his torch to just start cutting up this locomotive. You also had Duke, the character Duke in the Railway series. His owner, they mentioned, was actually killed in the war, which was the reason he was forgotten about and abandoned. Which, funny enough, that was, I guess, based off of a true story in terms of, a locomotive that had been abandoned for years. That was actually a American steam locomotive, if I remember right. Again, back to, some of these things with Thomas and Friends, some of it is based off of real life events. But yeah, I mean, like I said, you get some of these people, oh, it's just for kids. Oh, well, yeah, sure. Maybe so, maybe not. I don't know. You go to these train shows and such, you got to have something to get the younger generation involved, get them interested. But yeah. So, yeah, that would have been last question for Splendid Red Engine. Like I said, just my interest in trains and railroading and such. That's what got me into Thomas and Friends. And it's just something that stuck with me for the last how many years. Catch up here on the chat. Hang on, just trying to catch up on the chat here. I've kind of been Imagination Station, Gauge 1 Thomas. Nah, probably not. Jeffrey Simbursky asks, out of all the Ertl Thomas customs you made, which one was your favorite of all time? I think we kind of went over that. Imagination Station asks about Rebecca. Go watch my custom video. Brandon C asks, what's your favorite Ertl item? Okay, is that just for Ertl's Thomas range, or is that for everything that Ertl did? Because, I mean, there's quite a few options out there. I mean, I'd have to say, in terms of the Ertl range, Oliver would have to be my favorite for the Thomas line. I don't have a mint Oliver here, as he was. I do have my custom version. But I don't know. I was always fascinated with Oliver as a child. I actually had two. I don't know where it got to. Funny enough, I always wanted a scrap Oliver when I was a kid, but of course, Ertl never produced them and basically made one myself. Which, funny enough, I don't know why they did it in the series, but if you look at Oliver in the series in the episode Escape, you can see there's a little bit of green showing through the rust. Kind of makes me wonder if they dirtied up a clean model or what the deal was. But in this custom, I kind of did the same thing. You can see a little bit of green. But yeah, Oliver was definitely my favorite in terms of, the Ertls that they did for the Thomas range. I don't have it here, but I also picked up, there was a pickup truck from the Fall Guy series. I'm talking the Ertl one, not the Greenlight one I reviewed recently. I had that one as a kid, and I was kind of surprised it was an Ertl truck. It's been well loved, so because there's a speck of paint on it and everything's busted and what have you. But that would have been one of my favorites from childhood, and of course I had a number of these, Ertl tractors, and a lot of them are gone, but I've still got some that are still in my collection to this day. But yeah, I'd have to say that would be my favorite. That would have to be my favorite for the Thomas range would be Oliver, and I'd probably throw a few other ones out there as childhood favorites that I might have had. And of course, in your younger years, you've always got this one thing that you look at and you want to have it, you want to get it, but either you don't have the money or your parents don't have the money, or it's something you never get. But yeah. I'm going to send somebody a train real quick. You guys will probably have no idea what I'm talking about. All right. Wow, this has been going on for an hour. Can't believe you people want to listen to me talk. Okay. Next question, which this may be the last one. Mitchell from Illinois asks, what's it like when you and other YouTubers have a meetup and hang out? That depends. Sometimes it's enjoyable. Sometimes it's an absolute nightmare. Now, I've met up with a couple YouTubers over the years. Within the past 6 years now, I guess, I've met up with Captain Rolls, Terrence the Tractor 525, NZR doing, John Deere Man 567, even though he doesn't have an account anymore. Trying to think. There's definitely some other YouTubers I met up with in the past, which I don't really want to drop their names here just because I kind of fell out of contact with them. And yeah, not that I have anything against them, but I remember back in 2016, I met up with Captain Rolls for the first time. Unfortunately, he lives all the way up in Michigan. You know, I'm in Pennsylvania, and he's a 5-hour drive from where I live. But I remember it was kind of hilarious because when I first met up with him, we were at the Somerville show in Somerville in April. I was there with my one table I had at the time. He shows up, and I see him there, and I'm just like, he's real? You know, I say that right in front of him. I'm like, you're real. Like, for the longest time, I thought you were imaginary, and it turns out you're real. Like, but, you know, it was pretty cool meeting Eddie for the first time there, because I'd have to say I've known Eddie for the longest. Eddie and I think 2003, 2004, maybe. I mean, I'm just guessing because me and Eddie, we met on the Bachman Trains Forum. Again, I'm thinking 2003 or 2004. So you do the math. Eddie and I, we've known each other for at least 20 years or close to it, give or take. But, you know, I've known him for the longest, and it was not until 2016 that I actually got to meet up with him. And unfortunately, I didn't get to see Eddie again until I believe 2021, I'm thinking. Because our schedules just didn't work out to meet in the following years. And, of course, we all know what happened in 2020, 2021, and 2022. You know, it was hard to do anything at the time. So, I mean, yeah, it was one of those deals there. It's like we just didn't get to see each other until, you know, a few years later. In regards to NZR doing, though, first time I got to meet up with him was back in August of 2021. That was the first meetup. First time I ever got to see him. Great time hanging out, doing stuff together. Trying to think. I don't believe we did a whole hell of a lot during the first meetup because I know we went to the local hobby shop. We also went to a place called Doolittle Station. Apologies for the pump going in the background. That's somebody's running water upstairs. I'm thinking that's really about it really. I'm not sure we did anything else. Uh, and I mean, he was only here for a weekend because he lives the whole way down in Louisiana. So, it was just a weekend thing for him. But YouTuber Terrence the Tractor 525, I actually got to meet up with him for the first time back in, I think, October of 2021. And funny thing with Terrence the Tractor 525, his name's Christian, by the way. He has known me longer than I've known him. When I was doing YouTube back in the early days, and I'm talking like 2009, 2010, a little bit of 2011, I guess, he was watching my channel. And I think he was only 7 years old at the time. I was, I don't know, mid-teens, late teens, early late teens. But yeah, he's known me longer than I've known him. And it was kind of funny that when he told me that. But again, we met up back in October of 2021, which was, to be honest with you, it was a pathetic meetup just because of what went down with it, which it's not worth going into. But I only got to see him for like an hour. And then the following year, we did meet up again, and we got to spend an entire day together, hang out. Unfortunately, being he lives New York State, it's it's a 6-hour drive for him to make his way out here. And I mean, Zach, like NZR doing Zach there, he lives down in Louisiana, and it's a good part of a day for him to get up here. I mean, he flies, but just layover time. I know when me and NZR doing, when we met up here back in March of this year, he literally had, I think he said he had altogether 6 hours in layovers to get up here and then get back home and such. But yeah, I mean, it's a great time when you can meet up with these people you've known a lot online, especially when you've known them for years. Sorry. Distractions on Discord again. But like I said, it's great when you can meet up with people that you've known online for all these years and just be able to physically hang out with them. You don't get the same experience from basically doing what I'm doing right now, where you're sitting at a computer screen, talking into a microphone, talking to a camera. It's not the same thing. And it's kind of funny because I even know, like, this has happened on numerous occasions. Like when I've hung out with Terrence the Tractor 525, or when I've hung out with NZR doing, they go home to the hustle and bustle of everyday life where they live, and they miss being around here. It's one of those deals that it's something you miss. And I mean, me, unfortunately, I cannot say I've got a whole lot of friends like in real life. Pretty much a majority of the people I'm friends with are online. They're out of state. They live in other countries. Because, I mean, I've got, like, my friend Rob, the Red Engine, he's in the UK. Then you've got my friend Douglas Rowe. He's all the way over in California. Then trying to think of another couple people I know. But, it's one of those deals. We all live in different states. I've got one friend that I was in school with, and he's the only friend I have from school. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a whole lot of free time anymore just because of, how his everyday life is. So, I pretty much keep to myself. Not going to say anything. But yeah. So basically, to put a wrap on Mitchell's question, of what it's like to have meetups and hang out with other YouTubers. Like I said, it's great. But unfortunately, it doesn't happen as often as I'd like. One thing I would like to see happen at some point, which I don't think it's ever going to be a thing. It would be so awesome if we could get a whole bunch of us together to do a big meetup. But I don't see it happening. It is funny though, because you go back to 2021, we almost had a meetup where it was going to be me, Captain Rolls, and Terrence the Tractor 525. Unfortunately, it fell through, but it was kind of funny because NZR Dune, when he found out the three of us were meeting up, he was even planning on flying up here from Louisiana to, basically be the four of us meeting up and hanging out. I forgot to mention, I can't believe this slipped my mind. Back in August of 2022, when NZR Dune and I met up, he brought his brother along, which would have been John Deere Man 567. And that was epic, just having the three of us. We had pretty much an entire week to hang out and do stuff together. In terms of YouTube, I guess we only did one live chat because we ran out of time. Well, we were just so beat after the one day there. We didn't bother doing a second live chat like we planned, but it's like we went all these different places. And I mean, there's videos online. We went to like Jake's Rocks. We checked out the Clarion Model Railroaders Club. We actually went there twice because they invited us back for a running session. Went to Kinzu Bridge State Park twice. Unfortunately, I didn't get to throw Zach off the bridge like I wanted to because he was getting my freaking nerves. But yeah, I mean, we did all these things, and it's kind of disappointing though. Never got to Nick didn't come with Zach there when we met up again in March. And I mean, even that meetup with me and Zach in March was pretty good. Did quite a bit. Didn't do as much, I guess, but I helped him out with his Yu-Gi-Oh! Chronicles video that he did, which that's linked on his channel if you want to check it out and see my epic acting skills. And then that reminds me, I've also got my one vlog I did on that as well, because I was helping him with projects, a couple projects he had. Like I said, it's great because you can, it's a whole nother ball game when you can meet up with these other YouTubers and do these projects together. But yeah, I'm trying to think if that's it. I think it pretty much answered Mitchell's question. Check out the chat here, see if there's anything else I want to go over. I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat, so been going on for almost an hour and a half here. Might wrap things up before too much longer. Oh, that's right, that cup's got a hole in it. Anyways, so yeah, wasn't that many questions, but sure took a hell of a long time to answer them. Yeah, I'm not sure what all. Pretty much gone through all the questions I had here. So why? Okay, CW, I'm assuming you're referring to Amtrak SEPTA. And to be honest with you, my brother could probably tell you more about SEPTA than I could. I can't really say I follow a lot of things with railroads and like Amtrak's one thing I don't follow. Buffalo and Pittsburgh, yes. Norfolk Southern, yes. I think that's about it. Very fascinated with Stroudsburg. Oh man, that's one thing there. Stroudsburg. I'd love to go to Stroudsburg again. I have not been there since 2008. I believe was the last time I was at Stroudsburg. Funny enough, I was down in the New Holland area back March, April. Yeah, April, I guess. I was in New Holland. You guys might have seen some of my posts on that. And on my trip back home there, I actually did drive past Stroudsburg Railroad. Unfortunately, I didn't stop. I could have, but the trip to New Holland, it's a long trip to go down there and back in a day's time. If I leave here at 3:00 in the morning, I'm lucky if I can get back before 7 in the evening. So if I were to stop at the railroad, I probably would have stayed there for at least an hour, probably longer if I had my choice. And it's just it would have been way too long a time. I kind of regret not being able to go to Stroudsburg sooner though, because I know Norfolk Southern 611. She was actually there at the museum. Would have had the chance to see that locomotive in person. It's a missed opportunity, I guess. But yeah, I've got a fascination with Stroudsburg Railroad. Also had quite a fascination with the Knox and Kane Railroad when it was still a thing. But what do you do when you don't have funding to rebuild a bridge? And you have a 98% decrease in passengers. I don't think it was that. I think it was like a 75% decrease in passengers that kind of was the fall for the Knox and Kane. And then they also fell victim to arson just because somebody apparently had nothing better to do with their time. Pittsburgh and Shawmut Railroad, that was another one I was quite fascinated with, but that's been gone for quite a few years. Pittsburgh and Shawmut, the shop's still there. In fact, I'm actually going there tomorrow. Maybe I'll shoot some video or snap some photos. I don't know. That shop actually belongs to the Buffalo and Pittsburgh now, which they are owned by Genesee and Wyoming, if anyone's familiar with that railroad. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of amateur when it comes to some of these railroading things and such. I mean, what do you expect? I'm kind of. I think at times I'm into way too many things. You've got. I'm into railroading. I'm into agriculture. I'm into heavy machinery, construction, big rigs. And I've got all these different things I'm into, hobby-wise, video editing, camera work, model trains, die-cast cars. I guess it's one of those deals. I try to do everything, and, maybe it's not a good idea. You got some of these other people, they're just into a couple things, like I'm into music. I'm into collecting plushies. I collect keychains. I collect stamps. Some of these people, they got like 3 things they're into, and that's it. They're not like me that's interested in like 80, 90 things. I don't know. I got to get a hobby. One hobby. If you guys only knew what was going on right now. So yeah, trying to think. I think that's really about it. Really, Oh, okay. Now, my friend Douglas is messaging me on Discord. Something I really... we're not going to talk about that just because it ain't worth talking about. But yeah, Imagination Station, no one likes a suck up. To say I'm the best, that's an exaggeration. Yeah, so I've been going on for an hour and a half now here. I think I'm going to wrap it up before too much longer. I don't know what time zone the rest of you guys are in, but I'm, it's 9:30 here, so probably call it quits before too long. Not to mention I got a mess here to clean up before I go off to do whatever. I know, there's people I say, oh, I'm going to go off and do something. Yeah, you guys think something dirty. Like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go on the internet and I'm going to look something up. Cat videos. That's about all you can watch. Now, if I wasn't streaming and I said I was going to go watch cat videos, this would be the moment I'd pull up Keyboard Cat. Unfortunately, I can't do that because I've already been hit with a copyright claim, and yeah. Don't need another one of those. Probably just rambling on now. Ninian Cat, that's another one. Quite like that. Oh, man. Yep. So yeah, I'm going to be calling it quits here. About another 3 minutes. Oh. I guess not. Now Train Man wants to know a couple things. Okay. Throw them at me, Train Man. What are your questions? Always expect him to be late to the party. All right. Train Man 3985 asks, what's your favorite steam engine outside of Pennsylvania? Favorite. Well, there's quite a few that, I can tell you one locomotive that I quite like outside of the U.S., and that would have to be City of Truro, GWR City of Truro. Partially because I know somebody who actually drove the real locomotive not long before she was withdrawn from service. Now she's on static display at the NRM, the National Railway Museum. But yeah, that would have to be one of my favorites, outside of Pennsylvania, outside of the U.S. Another one I quite like is Union Pacific. Well, I think it's 844. Her road number used to be 8444. I don't know why they dropped the 14, but they've also nicknamed her a living legend. I think there's 4 of them still in existence. 844, I think she's still in operating condition, but she's in storage. Not running at this time. Sierra Railroad number 3 would be another one. She's basically the movie star locomotive. Those that those of you that know Sierra Railroad number 3, she's appeared in countless films and television. The one I most recognize her for is she was the locomotive in Back to the Future, the third part of Back to the Future there, when they were trying to get the DeLorean up to 88 miles an hour. I'm also quite a fan of the TV show Petticoat Junction. If anyone's familiar with that, that's going back a ways. But she was in Petticoat Junction. Number 3 was actually the Hooterville Cannonball, and just, you know, I was quite surprised there. I never knew a lot of this till I got older, but, you know, I mean, she would definitely be a favorite for the steam engine outside of Pennsylvania. I mean, everyone knows I got a fascination with Stroudsburg Railroad number 90, but, you know, okay. So trying to think if there's anything else I want to say on that question, though. Other locomotives. Well, I don't know. I don't think Norfolk Western 611's in Pennsylvania anymore. Could I say that was a favorite of mine? Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that personally. You know, but Trainman3985 also asks, what inspired your username Plowbender Studios? Wow, do I really want to answer this question? I guess you guys who follow my channel will know that there's, if you look at my studio logo, there's an image of a stallion. That's basically my OC, which I named Plowbender. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys here. I'm basing that off of, I think it's the 4th generation of My Little Pony. Say what you want, I don't care. That OC was basically what inspired my username. Plowbender, because, well, that's the OC's name, and, you know, people call me either Plowbender or Mr. Bender or Mr. Plow, whichever you prefer. And, you know, you put studios after it because, obviously, I'm a video producer here on YouTube. You know, and that's basically what inspired it. I'm not sure what else I can say in that regard. I do remember when I was putting my channel together, I could not, I really thought to myself, what do I want for a username? And, you know, Plowbender Studios just, it was the first thing I thought about. And it's like, I think that works. So that's what I went with. Anything else? I think that's it for that. Damn pump. One of these days I'm going to build a room. You know, that thing there, that is annoying when you're trying to shoot a video or record audio too. Okay. Last question from Trainman3985. He asks, favorite and least favorite car? Well, funny story for you. I remember back my younger years of high school, always wanted a 1969 Dodge Charger. My reason for this is I wanted to turn it into a General Lee. If you are familiar with the Dukes of Hazzard series, forget the movies and all that crap. I'm going back to the original, Dukes of Hazzard series. Was so fascinated with the Dodge Charger and the General Lee, I wanted one of my own. Funny enough, when I got into my later years of high school, I was fascinated with getting an International CXT. The CXT is basically a big pickup truck. Run a Google search for International CXT, and that was the truck I wanted. The only downside is at the time, I think one of those trucks cost like $86,000. They got about, I think, 8 miles to the gallon, and they were really more for commercial use. They were not, like a daily driver, but I so wanted one of those. And then in my later years, I started to become fascinated with the old first generation Dodge Rams, the old square body trucks. And I'd like to have one, but I don't know. Chances of getting one, it's possible, but maybe someday. Funny, here's something funny for you guys as well. And I'm still annoyed about this. A couple weeks ago, I almost had the opportunity. Well, the opportunity was there. I almost bought a fire truck. And I ain't joking here when I say this. I almost bought a 1973 Ward LaFrance pumper. I think I can actually pull one up here. I think I still got a picture of it. I was looking on, you guys have probably heard of Facebook Marketplace. There was a seller had a 1973 Ward LaFrance pumper. I'd always wanted, what am I talking about? For the past few years now, I've wanted a 73 Ward LaFrance pumper because there was a TV show. I didn't grow up with it, but I'm quite a fan of it, from the 1970s, called Emergency, starring Kevin Tighe and Randolph Mantooth. They played as paramedics for the Los Angeles County Fire Department. In that show, they had I believe it was it varied depending on the season, but it was a 1972 Dodge D300, which played as Squad 51, and then they had a 1973 Ward LaFrance pumper, which played as Engine 51. And I'd wanted a replica of both the engine and the squad, and I was looking on Marketplace, and lo and behold, I came across a 1973 Ward LaFrance pumper someone was selling. If it'll focus. Come on. But anyways, that's the truck right there. Really good condition. The person wanted $6,000 for it. And I really wanted to get my hands on the truck. Looked at finances, looked at licensing, insurance, all that. Called the guy about it to get some information. And I think I called him on a Wednesday, and it wasn't till a Friday that he got back to me. And he basically told me that, he gave me the details on the truck, VIN number and everything. Said I got to check with licensing and insurance. In the meantime, I got any other questions, I'll get back to you. Of course, on a Friday weekend, everything's closed. I go into the insurance company on Monday, figure out licensing and everything, go home, call the guy, tell him what I found out, get a call back later, the truck's been sold. Over the weekend, it's sold. I inquired on it first, but it's sold. Somebody else came in and bought it out from under me. And I'm thinking to myself, really? I was so close to having this. I was something I never thought I'd have, and it's gone. And you guys are probably thinking to yourself, though, why the hell would you want to go out and buy a fire truck? What are you going to do with a fire truck? Well, my intentions were, take it to shows and such, car shows. I mean, my friend Eddie, he takes his cars to shows and what have you. I was kind of surprised too at the price, $6,000 for that. Really good deal. I mean, hey, if you want to take, go on a parts run with it, or go to the grocery store, or take your girlfriend for ice cream, why not? But no, I mean, I'm telling you, I was honestly pissed when I found out that sold, because it's like, I literally said, I got to check licensing and insurance. Get back to you once I figure that out. Well, unfortunately, it's one of those deals. Money talks, and I'm going to say somebody came in with cash, but I'll be honest with you, if that's the way people like that deal, I'd rather not deal with them. But yeah, I was disappointed I didn't get my hands on that truck. I don't know. I just got to keep looking, I guess. I've come across some other Ward LaFrance pumpers. There was a 72 I came across there. There was a 76. But the big thing is I want one which is almost a carbon copy of what Engine 51 was, which unfortunately they're out there, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not looking in the right places. But like I said, I was disappointed to find out that sold, especially considering that I inquired on it first. I said I was interested, said I had, to do some research. It is what it is, I guess. But also, Train Man, he asks least favorite car. Least favorite car. Toyota Prius, I guess. So yeah. Just trying to catch up here. Douglas Rowe, he's joined the party. He asks, what made you like the Ertl range of Thomas toys over other ranges? Probably just because it's what I grew up with. I did not have a lot of wooden railway in my younger years. Probably just because it was more expensive. Granted, I think you got what you paid for with wooden railway. Tomy Trackmaster was a thing. Actually, no, I think it would have been Tomy something else at the time, I believe. But, I think another deal is just there wasn't any area, like there wasn't any local businesses in my area that sold like wooden railway or Tomy stuff. I remember you guys have heard me talk about Du Bois numerous times. The mall that was in Du Bois, which is basically a ghost town now, there used to be, I don't know if it was a toy store or a hobby shop, but they used to have all these Ertls for sale. And I remember they used to have the Thomas range. They had Theodore Tugboat. They had like the old dark blue Tomy system, I remember. But it's like, that was so many years ago. But yeah, I mean, I would pick up stuff there. Then you guys may have seen the videos I did of the show I go to in Somerville every first Sunday in April. That place there, they used to sell the Ertl stuff, back late 90s, early 2000s. You can still find that stuff there, but in a lot of cases it's used, and it's rare to find something in the package. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much why I preferred that over the other ranges, is just because it's what I had. Like I said, I did have a little bit of wooden railway in my younger years, but never really had the Tomy system or Never had take along either. I wanted to get into take along, but never did. Just, I don't know. It's kind of odd. You just bit. I guess it's kind of nostalgia too. Anyways, just catching up on the comments here. Hello, Eddie. Welcome. Yeah, thanks for clearing that up, Douglas. I was, didn't know a whole lot. Hello to Braden. Hello to Train Time Boy. Well, we're getting close to 2 hours here, and I'm starting to get a little bored. So I'm thinking once we crack the 2 hour mark here, I'm going to call it quits. So, yeah, and I've still got a mess to clean up tonight, and I've got other, oh man, so much to do in so little time. And it's almost 10 o'clock here. I don't know where the rest of you guys live, but yeah. Well, actually, Douglas, I know you're 4 hours behind me because you're clear on the other side of the country. Which, speaking of which, Douglas, you and me still need to meet up and go to L.A. there. Check out the Fire Museum. That, and we got to go to Carson, check out Station 127. There is a viewer among you guys which just, I don't know. I can't describe it. We'll just leave it at that. You went to the drive-thru. You went to Sonic. Is that it? You went to Sonic and you did not take me. What the hell kind of friend are you, Eddie? You know, all you had to do was message me and be like, hey, Plowbender, I'm going to Sonic. You want to come along? I'd be like, nah, I'm going to stay home and cry in a corner about how lonely and depressing my life is. I don't know. Can I use that running gag on the channel anymore? Like, can I do that now? I mean, that's kind of been going on for like the last, I don't know. When did I do that one April Fool's Day video? Yeah. There you go, Eddie. I don't need you and your shitty Sonic. I'm going to Pizza Hut tomorrow, and I don't know. I've been doing this too long. I just can't figure out what I want to say anymore. I had a cup here. I don't know where it went. It was empty anyways. Trying to think if there's anything else I want to say. I mean, considering it's almost 10 o'clock for me now, I doubt I'm going to get my next upload done tomorrow. So I don't think you're going to see any more uploads from me for this week. I've got a few more that I got to do. You guys have seen I've uploaded a couple videos from the Keystone Nationals that I went to not this week, but last week. Got 2 more videos coming out for that. Also got I wouldn't say a consumer affairs video, but more just a rant video coming up here. Got a fan mail unboxing as well, and a couple diecast reviews. Some of you guys may be wondering about model train videos. As soon as somebody puts the house back together, I can get, maybe do a couple more of those. That's what kind of surprises me. I was doing videos at Doolittle's there for the longest time. I haven't been there since the end of March. I want to go back. Everyday life's just too busy. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to keep up with uploading schedules on YouTube and such, but everything going on. I'll catch you later, Douglas. Make sure to, I don't know, don't drive on the left side of the road. Yeah, I like that idea, Jenna. We can go the following week. Don't worry, the video didn't freeze. I'm just staring at Eddie's comment. But yeah, got about 3 minutes left here before I head off. So I don't know. I've kind of run out of a whole lot of things to say because I've literally been talking for like almost 2 hours. I think the last time I did a stream like this was Zach. That was been a while. Well, actually, yeah, you go back to the end of March. Zach and I'm just looking here in my videos. We did a stream 1 hour, 41 minutes, 6 seconds. It's a good part of 2 hours. What is it with you and the Chris Kyle thing? Like, literally. What was it? Somebody told me I look like someone recently. Who was it they said I looked like? Somebody said I look like someone recently. I can't remember who they said it was. I mean, I've been told numerous times, you look like this person, you look like that person, some celebrity. I've had people tell me that I look like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. I've had people tell me that I look like, there's some people tell me I look like Big Macintosh from My Little Pony. I get some people telling me that I look like Luke Combs, country music singer. I've had a couple people tell me that I look like my uncle, which I believe because I practically do. He's not a celebrity, though. Well, and I'm going to say this too. I know I've said this on numerous occasions, but I'm going to say it again. Remember, Michael, Trainman3985, if I'm Chris Kyle, that makes me an American sniper. That being the case, I think it'd be very wise of you not to be pissing off someone who can end your life from another zip code. There you go. See, Michael. See. Some people do appreciate my good looks. Now, if only I could adjust my attitude to where people would find that more attractive. But we've cracked the 2-hour mark, and I'm ready to call it quits. So I guess I'm heading off. You guys are going to miss me, not miss me. I don't know. That's your problem. Anyways, I'm going to sign off here. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, submitting your questions, listening to me ramble for 2 hours in this Q&A. Also want to thank everyone for their continued support and viewership for the channel. If you want to help me out, you can check out the links down in the description. Check out my other pages. And if you want to chat more, feel free to message me on Discord. I'm assuming that's where quite a few of you guys are going to head right after this stream ends. But, yeah, new uploads next week. Afraid I'm not going to have another one for this week, sadly, but you guys will live. So, yep, farewell, Chris. I'll catch you on the flip side. Also, same to you, Eddie. Yeah, I think that's going to be it. I'm heading off. Like I said, you guys can feel free to chat with me on my other pages or in my Discord. So, till next time, I'll catch you guys later. All right. See you, folks.